go live, I'll be able to see it. And then, we'll just kind of go into it.
All right. Okay, we are officially live right now on Twitch. On the path to affiliate, baby. And I got to close that out because it's going to give me a headache trying to see between the two of them.
And can you zoom me in?
Yes. Let me try. So
yeah, see if we can try to get it as close as we can to like your.
Wait, sorry. Hold on. What about that?
There we go. And then just a little bit more. I just want to get that ring light out.
Oh, I see. Hold on. I gotcha. What about this? There, here. Let me get this.
Money.
Is that good?
Yeah, and then you just kind of, just even it.
Yep,
like,
yep. Like that.
That's hot.
Better?
That's hot right there.
It's
That's
so
hot right there.
I think this is too close to me, but...
No, dude, it's great. That actually looks better than whatever you're using.
Well, that's because that's my webcam. I only have two cameras, and one of them's attached to my laptop. But now you can see the sweet stuff in my back. Look at this. You can see, that's a North Carolina brewery that Scooty Shuffles used to work at. That's my KC beer map, and then this is like a Leinenkugel's thing from the '60s. So, I actually my room is starting to get a little bit more lived in.
Oh, don't worry. I mean, I can always see that stuff from your laptop.
Oh, you can? Oh, okay. So this is old news for you?
Yeah. All right. Well, looks like we have some people watching, so I guess we should probably record Brews and Builds.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's
all right. Let's hit record.
Oh, right. Now they're actually going to see me going and know what it is. All right, just like this. Here we go.
Hey, guys. Welcome to episode 143 of CMD Towers Brews and Builds. I'm Mr. Commodore 5, and my fellow host is a selfless spirit for taking a red eye to go to a wedding the very next day so that way he can attend Magic 30 in Vegas, BigTuck.
I literally was like, I am not going to any more weddings this year. And in 2 days in a row, I was like, I'm kind of... Like, I travel so much, but I can't stop it, right? So I have Monday off, right? So, and Meredith, the coach, my girl I'm dating exclusively, she works at like a studio, right? At a fitness studio. So her hour's always crazy. So she has to work like Saturday till noon, Sunday till 1, and then all day Monday. Like Mondays are her big days. So I was like, I have Monday off. I should go do something. So, of course, the week after, I think I'm going to travel for a while. It'd be nice to be home for a weekend. I'm going up to Raleigh to visit a friend who lives in Chapel Hill and then come back on Monday. So I was also just like, I don't think I'm going to do any more traveling besides maybe go and visit my friend who lives in Argentina and work remote there. And then Magic Fest Vegas happened, especially now that my lodging situation is being taken care of. Wink, wink, wink. That was a huge incentive, but I was really thinking about it. And I think that's gonna be really fun. I think it's gonna be a really fun trip. I haven't been to Vegas since I was a child, and like that, I was 24. And I know you're a Vegas pro. You've been there, 6 times by now?
I mean, 5, but to be fair, I've only been once for the typical Vegas trip. Every other time it's been Magic or work related.
Did you go, was that the trip that Squee McGee woke up running somewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I was like, you, him.
Just us.
It was just us. Oh, I thought it was Jared. Was Jared, friend of the show, Jared, not there?
No, he wasn't. So it was just us, and then there was a girl that I was seeing that I actually was working with at Verizon that her and her cousin came. They stayed in their own place. But then we ended up running into Squee McGee's older brother, and at the time, his girlfriend. They were randomly in Vegas for a volleyball tournament. So they actually joined us on the club adventures. But yeah, that was a very... I don't know if that trip was more expensive or my Magic Fest trip is more expensive. The amount of money I spend on cards and stuff when I'm there. But
I think...
no.
Now, here's the real question. You will also be coming to Charlotte in 2023, correct?
It looks like this Magic 30 thing is coming to Charlotte. And if I'm making Tuck go, I kind of have to come do that too. So
I think that'd be fun. You can come to.
I mean, it's just North Carolina. I don't see the appeal.
Why? It's nice. I'll take you to the best place, the best fried chicken place in the town. So,
oh, all right.
I'll get you. Trust me, there's plenty to do here. We can eat and drink our way through the whole damn thing.
Sounds good. But yeah, no, it's exciting. We get to kind of announce it. CMD Tower is going to be coming to Magic 30 in Vegas.
Woo!
It's going to be me, BigTuck, and actually one of our Discord mods is for sure coming in as well. And potentially, we'll have some others, Single Aaron, The Goad, possibly Duffs or Nathan. The group might end up getting bigger.
Rocketing Moss. Rocketing Moss is not coming, I'm assuming, right? Because I imagine that.
Oh, I would assume not.
I would assume
Maybe.
that's right. Like that's probably close to, if not the exact weekend of that happening.
Yeah, this isn't the 50s. You can't be like, hey, go have a kid. I'm gonna go drinking with the boys.
Yeah, I'm gonna go drink and smoke in Vegas, baby, Vegas.
But yeah, no, we're going to be real excited. And some of the things that we're going to start planning, we're going to try to do a rotisserie draft, figure out which other content creators are going to be going. That's something that is a ton of fun. We're going to do a bunch of giveaways. We're going to be partnering with Abyss Proxy Shop. So if you guys end up playing in a pod with Tuck and I, and you end up winning the pod, or at least eliminating us, I think we need you to win the game, win the whole pod. Because if it's just eliminating us, we're just gonna get picked on.
Exactly. We're not going to win a damn game the entire time.
But we're going to be giving away, some playtest cards of some of our favorites, and just have a bunch of merch with us. Heck, we might even do like a scavenger hunt. Like that could be kind of fun. Just randomly go stash like a foil playmat somewhere or a holiday sweater.
I don't want to speak out of turn, but for those who may be joining us
out of turn, I'm ready to smack you.
We might be doing something special for the people who are coming with us, representing CMD Tower as well, correct?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Like the mini thing, where I don't want to get into too many details, but there's like that mini thing that you made mention of that I think could be fun, right?
The mini thing?
The mini thing. Like, it's like an inception of the thing that we're doing there.
I mean...
We can talk about
We're doing that, but we're doing that like in a month. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay, yes. Something that definitely, we got Commander Smiths ended up kind of doing a little mini one. It seemed like it worked well, so we're going to try to learn from that.
Yes.
And I've actually had collective members reach out to me and say, hey, when are you guys going to do that? And it's like, oh, well, the travel. And I've actually had some pushback, be like, Kansas City Central. It's easy to get to you guys. And it's like, okay, I never really thought that. So yeah, no, a lot of exciting things on the horizon.
Not to get into too many specifics about that, but could be something else that's in the hopper as well. So big year of Magic.
Yeah, big year of Magic for CMD Tower. But I know you guys want to know a little bit about what's going on in Mr. Combo's life.
Yes.
The Boys Season 3 is phenomenal.
I loved Season 1, and I came out when I was in a pretty dark period of my life in Kansas City, and I tried to watch it since I moved away from there. It's like, this is so dark and depressing and everyone's evil, which is funny because that's usually my favorite kind of media. But now that I'm in a better mindset, I've been wanting to get back into it. What were your thoughts on Season 2? It's all good. It's all been good, right?
Yeah, Season 2 was good. Have you watched Season 2?
No, I've only watched Season 1.
So, the new character they end up introducing in Season 2, I was never a big fan of her, but they do kind of get rid of her by the end, so she's only around for a season. But it definitely laid a lot of groundwork for Season 3, and I'm telling you, Season 3, the first 5 minutes, I made the Godfather watch it. His jaw dropped.
Wow.
And the Godfather, he doesn't get shocked. Yeah. And usually you're like, oh, look at this cool thing. And he's like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, man.
But, this, he absolutely dropped his jaw. And he's like, why'd you show me this? I'm like, isn't that ridiculous? He's like, I'm going to dream about that.
Really? Hey, have you been to his new F shack yet?
Yeah, I have. I helped him move a bunch of stuff in.
Did you get the pool table?
No, we didn't.
Oh, okay.
Never happened. I think that's one of those, if I wanted to do it, then it would have happened. But it's like, this is your house. I'm not trying to tell you how to decorate it.
Yeah.
But Tuck, it is way too big for him. It's 3 stories. It has 7 or 8 or what? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 4 or 5 bedrooms with a finished attic. I mean, when I saw him last weekend, or I guess now 2 weeks ago, he genuinely was like, I don't even know, man. I think he's just almost like sleeping on like his mattress, and that's it. So hopefully he starts decorating it.
I was just gonna ask, but I thought we had these grandiose plans of like,
oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's daunting. I don't know. I was surprised to hear him say that he rented this house. I just figured that he would have just gotten like the smallest place and cheapest place available, right? But
this actually was the cheapest place available, but he was very picky. He wanted to live in a neighborhood similar to Chicago, which he was able to find one.
Right.
He wanted a garage. This place has a garage. And he still says it's more than he's wanting to pay, but he's only paying $1,100 a month. Like that
for a whole house.
Yeah, that doesn't seem that expensive.
I think my rent when I was when I had that tiny shitty house in Prairie Village that like was not safe to live in. Like I think my rent there was $1,000, right? And that place was a dump.
Yeah, and I bet you now they're probably charging $1,400 a month.
Oh, at least you got to think at least, right? But anyway,
so The Boys, phenomenal. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And they've already announced that season 4 is greenlit. So that's awesome.
Where is this? Because I know Obi-Wan is still going, right? That's not over yet either.
That's the next thing I'm about to talk about. I'm getting goosebumps. This week's episode of Obi-Wan, guys. Oh my gosh. Like seriously, my hairs are standing. We finally get to see Hayden Christensen, the original Anakin actor, not in Darth Vader gear. So they do this very cool, the whole episode opens, and this isn't like a spoiler, but the episode opens as a flashback between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So he's still a Padawan because he has his Padawan braid. And it's basically a sparring match between him and Obi-Wan. The thing that's cool is that the sparring match flashes throughout the entire episode. Because as the match progresses, it directly correlates with what's happening currently in the story.
I do like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is so amazing. And then second episode in a row, you get to see Vader's power. Tuck, it's scary. I was texting. I have a customer that he's no longer a customer of mine. He's with another account team. But the CIO and we have a very good friendship around Star Wars, Marvel, that kind of stuff. So we'll text each other from time to time. And I actually texted him, Tuck, don't crucify me, collective. I would be okay if they remade episodes 4 through 6 just so we could have true Darth Vader power.
Oh, sure.
Because you have to admit, what you saw in Rogue One is nothing like what we saw in A New Hope.
Well, we don't have time to litigate this whole thing. I agree with you, but I think that they're different. It's very difficult to compare the first run of 3 versus any of the other ones that have followed it.
From a movie standpoint, I agree with you, but I think unless there's something story-wise as to why Vader could only like move left and right a little bit, it's like that's how you could do it back in the 60s and 70s. Totally get it. We're not going to crucify you for that. You only had what you could do with. But now we are in a day and age where we can do things better.
Like CGI,
and we're literally we're watching it happen.
Right.
So that's where it's like, I think they would have to wait decades to do that, or just the world would explode.
Sure.
But the power you see Vader do, bro, I can't. I'm going to spoil it. We need to get on with this episode. Guys, thank you for coming out. And this is a little new for us. We're changing up the format a bit. So get ready for 10 minutes of ads. Just kidding.
Now,
Brews and Builds is our deck tech series. Since we conquered the path to 32, tackled tons of EDH themes, we're going to be discussing, or rather, theory crafting, a deck that doesn't even exist yet. Each month will consist of new decks, and we correlate how these decks are constructed, similar to how a beer is brewed. So we kind of broke it down into 4 different categories. The first one's rampant setting your board state. We call that grains.
And grains are the foundation of every beer. They include both base malts and specialty malts, usually in a 60-40 ratio. This helps with the color, the taste, and most importantly, the alcohol content of a beer. These great taste, less filling, do not have a whole lot of that. Decks always need ways to grow, stabilize, and ramp your bigger threats. Just like a grain profile, they usually mix of staples and specialty cards.
Lordy. How does your board interact with all of your opponents? We call that hops.
And hops give the beer its patented bitterness and herbal floral flavors to grow in a variety of strands and help distinguish subcategories like IPAs. Hop choices help clear interact with the board so your deck can ultimately do what it wants.
And then, how does the deck close out and win? And boy, I'm excited for this section. We call this yeast.
You're always good. This is the part that you're always great at. So this is where I'm bringing in the heat for you. Yeast are microorganisms that eat the sugar from the grain and poop out alcohol and CO2. It adds alcohol content and the carbonation. Without yeast, to be drinking flat sugar water. And without yeast cards, your deck would meet the goal of actually winning the game.
And then we do have shenanigans. It can be pet card synergies to the deck that are just kind of fun. We call that spice.
And not every beer has them, but spices and other additives help separate a normal stock beer from a specialty one. It could be the pepper that turns a stout into jalapeno stout, or the addition of hops that turn IPA into a double IPA. Not every deck has something that makes it pop, but if it does, is where we generally talk about it.
So without further ado, guys, let's get brewing. Today we're doing a theory craft, and we're doing it a little bit different, but we're still adhering to all of our traditions. So today, like you guys had with my chaos draft last week, or I guess the people watching us on Twitch right now, spoiler alert, you guys will be getting this tomorrow. We're doing a little bit with the background mechanic. That's kind of new and different. It's obviously they're trying to figure out ways to make partner, but not have it be broken partner.
Right.
So today we're talking Burakos, Party Leader, and Folk Hero. So Tuck, why don't you read Burakos, Party Leader? I'll read off Folk Hero, and then talk about why you wanted this Orzhov pairing.
Sure. So Burakos, Party Leader is a 2/4 legendary creature orc that's a mythic for $2.37. I guess that will not be the case for long, I wager to guess. And he costs 3 colorless and black to cast. So he also counts as a cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard, which is the party mechanic, effectively. Then whenever he attacks, defending, or she, I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that. Whenever Burakos attacks, defending player loses X life, and you create X treasure tokens untapped, which is stupid, where X is the number of creatures in your party. So if you attack with just him, you get 1. But you can get up to 4 triggers on this every time you attack with Burakos.
So that's actually Folk Hero. Let's get into that first, because I do have a question about the party mechanic that's just never made sense to me. Folk Hero, colorless white, legendary enchantment background. It's a mythic. Commander creatures you own have, whenever you cast a spell that shares a creature type with this creature, draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn. So before you kind of go into why you wanted to do this, when I read the card, and where X is the number of creatures in your party, that sounds like if you had 5 warriors, you would have 5 creatures in your party. So can't you technically have, because didn't you have people on stream losing 6 life?
Well, so
7 life.
They were losing 6 life because he's a 2/4. So the way it works is your party can only have 1 of each. So even if you have 10 warriors, only 1 of them can be in your party. So Burakos itself is 1 of each of them, right? So as long as if you have him and 10 warriors, it's 2, right?
Gotcha.
If you have him, 2 rogues, a wizard, and 5 warriors, it's 4 still. So it has to be limited to that. Now, I wish that there wasn't a limit to it so you could have multiple parties, but I guess that would probably be way too strong.
Well, like they should have just made the party mechanic to where it's like that, but then it's almost like banding, where it's like you put a party together and then you could do another party together, because it's silly. D&D, there's multiple parties. It's not just one.
Sure. But I think that, like, the party in D&D is all the player characters. So I think they had to put a limit to it in some regards, but still, it's like, it's overly complex, which is one of the reasons why I like it. and that kind of leads into the reason why I wanted to build this. So first off, this was a deck that I won from Command Fest Richmond with all the points that I accrued over time. There, I won a few rounds of the various drafts, and I had enough to buy this for free. So honestly, I bought it originally because of a few of the cards in there. It's got great reprints. The value of it is through the roof. Versus like, you could get like 6 boosters or whatever. But for me, my Orzhov deck I have now is Teysa Karlov, and I like it. It's a really strong deck, but it's a thinker, right? Like, you have to think about all these different triggers, how all these things work. There's a lot of stuff you can get, if you will, muddled in the mixture. Bang! Give me the explosion. Come on.
I don't have it.
You don't have anything?
I get you this.
Oh, that'll work. All right. So, but I thought one thing I really liked, and especially as we were streaming more, we've talked about this, how the streams that I feel have been the most enjoyable have been ones that have creatures and decks that are aggressive and want to attack, right? Like, and that's kind of slowly becoming more of my gimmick, right? I like these sort of things where in this deck you're incentivized to attack, right? And I think it's also an interesting build. It's an interesting deck to build from the mechanic of party, right? So it's like a bizarro tribal deck, but you have 4 mediocre tribes to choose from. I think that's really fun. And I think it just feels like a deck that's right in, I'm kind of tired from playing something. I want to play a deck that has cool mechanics, has a lot of different interesting card options open to it, but maybe isn't the most complicated thing in the world, right? Like it is kind of a go wide, or it's more of like a Voltron-y deck. You have to attack with your commander, and then you have to be kind of smart about how you attack. When we streamed this last week, or earlier, yeah, I guess it was last week, it kind of boiled down to that, right? Like there was just some people that were always a good target to attack because they didn't have blockers or anything. So I think it kind of helps you kind of dictate where the damage is going a little bit more. And the fact that it generates these treasures for you, it just seems like it's not the most exciting deck in the planet, I'll admit, but it's just a fun deck to play, right? Like it's a deck where I look forward to in the future sleeving it up and just being like, I'm ready to party literally with the mechanics and with the way I'm going to play it.
Sure. So the deck clapped. It
was
great.
Really good, right?
It was really good. Here's the one thing, though, and this isn't part of my tech today, but
Sure.
I do want to give you something to think about. So I feel like you chose this particular background because you wanted white, right? You wanted Orzhov.
Yeah. And this is
okay.
and that's the only option it came out of the precon.
So I would say that you would probably want to look to swap that for maybe like Far Traveler. That's the 2 white commander creatures you own have at the beginning of your end step exile up to 1 target tap creature you control that return it to the battlefield.
Oh,
because
sure.
a lot of the characters have ETB effects.
Ah, right. Yeah, there was a bunch of those. Yeah.
Yeah, you could look at that, or you could even look at like Noble Heritage. That's the colorless white, and that's the one where when commander creatures you own have, when this creature enters the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep.
Oh, right.
Yeah, each player may put 2+1/+1 counters on a creature they control. For each opponent who does, you gain protection from that player until your next turn.
Right.
That seems really, really good. So I think the whole card draw thing would be nice if you're casting on multiple turns, but since you're not,
yeah,
I don't think it's worth having it as your background to literally get a card draw a rotation.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does, and we'll address that very shortly as well.
Okay.
Bum. But to be fair, and this is what I saw playing the pre-release on these backgrounds are all completely bonkers, right? They're all good, and especially to your point in this deck, it is very top heavy in the sense of I'm trying to do what he does, right? I'm trying to do the thing that he is doing. So having any of these and all of these in the deck, it's still gonna get the same value out of them. Now, and I think I also like that idea too of it being like modular, right? Where if I sit down and I'm like, oh, I'm looking at the decks, I'm playing this deck, I don't have to change that much. So I'm just gonna swap this out for something like if I'm sitting down at a table that's very aggressive, be like done, right? I'm gonna put on Noble Heritage background to kind of buy some time, those sort of things, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I
So
like
that's the one comment I wanted to make. But yeah, no, this deck did great.
Out of the box.
Out of the box. I mean, you had us 3. I mean, granted, it sounds like my deck that I was playing kind of shut down half the table.
Yeah.
Which I would disagree with. It doesn't shut it down. Listen here, Cop, and Elder Drunken Highlander. You guys are fine. You can still sacrifice your stuff.
Yeah.
It's just I would have gotten it. It's
okay. That game was wild. Like we don't need a 40 life in a dash this, right? But the funniest, the two things I want to say about it is you are correct. It's like I'm not stopping you from playing your deck. Just do it, right? Like you can't go infinite, sure, but like you can still do what your deck wants to do. And second of almost all of the primers I've seen on this deck say to cut Pontiff of Blight, which was a card that was it was dealing out so much damage every turn. I didn't have to have another card, right? I just had to place to make mana.
Wow.
So,
well,
anyway.
guys, before we get into the deck tech and kind of going through this, we do want to, of course, let you guys know if you'd like to support us via our Patreon community, you can do that at patreon.com/CMDTower. We have a tier starting at just $1 that go way up from there. You get soft value. You're going to get actual tangible things like our awesome Brews and Builds foiled playmat. Like those are pretty sweet. Our reminder tokens, our sleeves, all of that kind of stuff. So anything you could do would definitely help us out. Patreon.com/CMDTower. Now, let's head over to that ramp and grain section. BigTuck, this is kind of your deck. And I want to know, what's the first card you think you need to add?
So the one, to your point about the draw, that was one thing that I really thought was missing, right? Like I kind of felt like there wasn't a lot of draw, there wasn't a lot of tutors, there wasn't a lot of that sort of thing. Not a lot of mana reduction. So those are the three things I wanted to go after, right? And we all know that we don't love tutors, right? We're not a big tutor. Well, I don't, or I try not to run very much, especially in our play group here. See the episode on Rogues about why I have to cut Opposition Agent and trade it. But there was one card that I think is kind of completely bonkers in this. And that card is one of the few good party mechanic ones. And that one is Coveted Prize. So 4 colorless and a black for a sorcery that's a rare. It's gone up in price from 15 cents to 21. So it says this spell costs one less to cast for each creature in your party. And I pretty much had a full party the entire time I played this.
Right? I genuinely don't remember when you didn't have a full party.
Exactly. So it could be 1 black, right? So then it says search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. If you have a full party, you may cast a spell with mana value 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So yeah. On turn 4 or 5, this turns into a better vampiric tutor, right? Like it's kind of insane. And granted, I don't.
Well, what you actually mean is a better Imperial Seal. Sorcery speed. Vamp is still. I would still put Vamp ahead of this because it's instant speed. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
So and the fact so not only are you tutoring for 1, you're also getting to play the card that you're going to tutor for, or just some other banger you have in your hand, right?
Yeah.
So I think that this as a draw and tutor is probably one of the more efficient ones you can get, considering the price and everything else.
I think this card's awesome.
Good, right?
I wish that you could do the second half of the spell without having a full party. Like maybe the spell costs 2 more, whatever. Or if you paid the full 5, you get to do both. Because I would genuinely run this card, but I'm not going to build a party deck, so probably we'll never see it.
But if you are the real tech here is if you run Shapeshifter Tribal in 5 colors, this also becomes an auto include.
All right, my first green card. I actually think this card is awesome. I think you're going to love it. It's going to give you future card advantage. Because the thing that I see the big risk with your deck is it's so creature heavy that a single board wipe is starting you back from the Stone Ages.
Yep, 100%.
And so, usually when you're at that critical mass, it's like, okay, I should probably hold back some creatures just in case. Mm-hmm. So I think if you put in Dream Devourer, this is a very smart play.
Ooh.
So, and I forgot to mention, every single one of my picks is a party mechanic.
Nice!
So, every single one. So this is a colorless black, creature, demon, cleric, rare. It's a 0/3. Each non-land card in your hand without Foretell has Foretell. Its Foretell cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 2. So, guys, if you're not familiar, because Foretell is still kind of weird. Yeah. You don't see it a ton. During your turn, you may pay 2 colorless and exile a non-land card from your hand face down. And then you could cast it later on for its Foretell cost. So, if you had a Chromatic Lantern and you foretelled it, you would pay 2, put it out in the exile zone. Then when you want to cast it later, it only costs 1 mana.
Right.
Essentially, it doesn't make your spells cost more. It's just the exact same cost. It's just like, oh, well, I got nothing else to do this turn. It's like I'll foretell out 3 cards.
It's like putting a down payment on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that...
And though there is another piece of text on here. Whenever you foretell a card, Dream Devourer gets +2/+0 till end of turn. Don't know how relevant that's going to be, but it's there.
I think this is a great inclusion. Does work in my Prosper deck, as we all well aware. Let me ask you this. So... I like the fact that this does buff up, and I do have things that are like when a blah 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 attacks, blah 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 happens of the party mechanics. So when I'm playing this deck, because it is so commander focused, do you think I should try to be also aggressive with the other creatures and get in while I can? Or do I always leave the other creatures out for blockers just in case someone has like a really explosive turn?
I think we'll address some of that in the hot profile.
Okay.
Trying to deal with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think you have to find a balance of you're living in the red zone, so you got to attack with stuff. But it's like, how much can you actually do with your commander if he's only draining people for 4 because that's what his ability is capped at. So you're going to have to start swinging with a bunch of creatures, and then you just have to figure out that balance. Yeah. But I think this card's super smart.
Yeah, I love it.
You could even, Teferi's Protection, foretell it out, and then it's just 1 white at any point. That's real good.
Coming in at that, I already got my box of Double Masters 2 or whatever the hell it's called pre-ordered, so hoping to get some good value out of that.
All right. Well, give us your next grain card.
So this is a fresh card straight from the Commander's Legends Baldur's Gate set. And even I think I put this in as a grain because I feel like I'm going to want the second value out of it more when I need it versus the first. It's a modal card, and it's called Your Temple is Under Attack. So 2 colorless and a white for a 16 cents common. I think this card's going to see a lot of play. So choose one. Pray for protection. Creatures you control gain indestructible till end of turn. Or strike a deal. You and target opponent each draw 2 cards.
Oh, okay.
So I think this is there's a card in here that this will probably replace called like Allied Formation or something that's like creature. It's 2 colors and a white. Creatures you control get indestructible. If it's your turn, they get a +1/+1 counter or something. But for me, this is a card that's going to be super utility, right? We just talked about how a board wipe's going to blow us out, right? And I think that's the 2 biggest things that this deck's going to struggle with. Running out of cards and running out of board wipes. So for me, being able to play a little bit of political game, be like, listen, I know I just came in for a taste. It's 6 damage. I get it. But I'm going to give you 2 cards at the end of the next turn. So I'll make it up to you, right? Like, I like that fact that this is this sort of it's like a non-straight political draw card as well.
Yeah, I like it. And we just talked about Foretell. How cool would it be to just have this 1 white mana out there
for the rest of the game?
Whether, I mean, heck, you're going to try to like mill your or like draw out your deck. Lab man on the stack. Go ahead and draw 2 cards.
Yep, done.
And lose the game. Or the indestructible piece. I really like this. I hate the whole pray for protection, strike a deal. Just have it be choose one, and we don't need to name everything. Come on.
Yeah, I know. They get crazy with that. But I have so a little bit of a spoiler for your dollar deck. You're going to be reading a lot of those.
Oh, God. All right. Well, my next one, and by the way, Tuck, I'm sorry. I know this year is going to be a heavy financial year for you. You know, you have my wedding. You're apparently going to Argentina. We got Magic 30, so Lord knows you're going to spend money on stuff there. You now have a consistent dating partner. So, you know, excursions rack up. But I'm going to make you spend a pretty penny on a lot of cards today. This is the first one.
Okay.
We talked about how you need card advantage.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This card sees a lot of CEDH play. One could argue Phyrexian Arena would be a better option at 3, but I would rather you get another party member to your team with Dark Confidant.
Oh, sure.
Colorless black, creature, human, wizard.
And it's a wizard.
At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. So here, and you can get it for, I think the cheapest copies, $30 basically.
Well, actually, I can get this for $3 because I already own one.
Boom!
Straight to the website.
So here was my thought, though. I don't know if you recall, Tuck, but at multiple points of the game, you had well more than your starting life total. The whole losing life here is irrelevant. Like, I was actually scrolling through your Mox field trying to figure out where CMC is, and then I gave up because I hate... Oh, there it is. Nope, that's just average number of lands. That's still not helpful. Where? Up, there we go. It is a 3/1/1 if you take out your lands, which I don't know why. I don't know why Moxfield gives you the CMC with lands. Like, who cares? I only care about my non-land. So 3/1/1, and so it's like, okay, if on average you're going to lose 3 to 4 life, but that's an extra card.
Right.
It's a little bit more reliable than your current background, and it's a wizard, so it's going to help you with all your mechanics.
Right. No, this is great. And I think Dark Confidant is like a really good non-commander card, right? Like, you get a lot of value out of it. So I think, to your point, this card now goes crazy when you care about, like, the copy I have is in my humans deck, right? Because it plays into that. So the fact that this is going towards everything and, like I said, drawing you that card is a slam dunk. Also, oddly enough, there's not a ton of wizards in white and black. So getting that underpopulated or underutilized tribal synergy, amazing. Love it. Two for two, baby. 2 for 2.
All right. Well, let's see what your third option is. Is it going to involve more cute keywords?
No, but it does involve one of the tribes that we're looking for. So mana reduction, right?
Yep.
I'm interested to see how this will turn out. But for me, a lot of the cards that I was drawing were white, predominantly white, right? White creatures, even more specifically. So for me, I think Oketra's Monument is going to be something that's really going to help me accelerate through the game. So it's a 3 color list for legendary artifact. White creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And then whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. And it's about $3 for an uncommon out of Amonkhet. So again, refueling the party mechanic, discount on my white creatures, which are really going to be the backbone of the deck, I think. And because it's the stupid, there's way too many creature types, right? We all agree with this. It's stupid. This very well could have been a soldier, but just because it happens to be on Amonkhet, they chose warriors there. It's like that and Khans of Tarkir. So you have all these like weird edge cards that actually help you a lot. So you get your blockers out, you fill your party. To me, it just seems like this kind of does everything that I'm looking to fill in.
I have no objection to this. You already got 30 plus creatures in the deck, and for some reason, I feel like the count's only going to go up after today.
It comes out of the box with 44.
That's absurd. And the thing I like about these monument cycles is the spell reduction is only for its color, but then it's just whenever you cast. They don't put the color restriction there as well. Because if it was whenever you cast a white creature spell, I don't think I would be that hot on it, even if you tell me you're mostly casting white stuff. But just the fact that it's any creature spell, slam dunk.
Yep, exactly. All right, you're 2 for 2 so far.
Don't worry. I'm gonna be 3 for 3.
Hell yeah!
But I'm also gonna make you spend like $40.
Come on!
No, it's only $15 now.
Oh,
all right. So this came out in M21. You know what it is? It's a legendary white creature. Everyone freaked out about it. Oh my god! They finally fixed white.
Oh, Magra the Diplomat.
Yep, who's also a cleric.
Really?
3 colorless white. Legendary creature, human cleric, mythic, 2/4. It has lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or a planeswalker you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. So the card's good, but the reason I want it for your deck is because I actually got to see the gameplay, and where I think you're going to be at risk is the people not storming off, because storming off, everyone just kind of loses. But where it's like they're doing 3, 4, 5 spells in a turn trying to solve you because you are the problem.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, do we want to solve it? Because now we're going to give Tuck a card.
Exactly.
And like maybe that card's an answer. Same thing with the attacking. You remember it was all like, we have to hit Tuck. We have to do it.
Right.
Well,
yeah. Right.
Now you're going to draw a card. So literally you playing your deck, Mangara is just going to probably get you, I'd say, 2 to 3 cards a rotation.
Oh, easy.
Once again, versus that background where you're getting 1. So I feel like we're getting enough net new card draw in here that background, you can really swap that out for something else.
I think that's a really good point. Also, I wrote a copy of this and I'm adding it to my Abyss Proxy Shop order immediately right now.
If you ever actually order it.
It's starting to get to a point where I'm like looking at it. It's like I'm way past what I said I was going to order. So maybe it's just time to pull the trigger. I think you hit the nail on the head. I will probably be casting 2 to 3 spells a turn at most, right? But other people, if we're playing any sort of control play or anyone with blue or black, they're gonna be casting a bunch, right? They're gonna be going up quick. I'm gonna get attacked. It's gonna happen. People are gonna get upset that I'm just spanking them with my party man. So I love it. I think Mangara. Do you have this in any decks? I'd be curious.
I think I run it in my vehicle deck.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because it's a mono white deck.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, the thing that also I think a lot of people forget about with Mangara is the cast their second spell each turn.
Right.
So a lot of these non-red zone decks, it's like, yeah, they're going to do stuff on their turn, and I also want to do stuff maybe on the person before me's turn.
Right.
So that way I can maximize my mana. So you potentially off one player, they may actually end up drawing you 2, 3 cards a rotation. So I only see a ceiling for this of, well, what are you guys using removal on? Is it my commander or is it the creature that's drawing me 6 cards a turn?
And like if I have this and 3 other creatures and I'm getting ready to cast my commander again to get the full party, are they really going to be like, is this going to bait out a board wipe that I can recover back from? So do you think in this deck that I should really be focusing and prioritizing these creatures over spells that do something similar, right?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Audio sign in blood, dark confident you're in.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap up the grain section. And before we head over to the next one, we do want to let you guys know that we do have a great set of merchandise. It's actually out on etsy.com/store/CMD Tower. But let's be honest, if you just go to cmdtower.com, you'll see the link for our merch. You click it, it'll take you straight to our storefront. We are running a bunch of discounts. We do have everything on there from our Jund sweaters, foil playmats, the coins, just a whole bunch of swag. So anything you guys could do to go help us out would be really appreciated. Just remember to go to etsy.com, and if you type in CMD Tower, you're going to see that awesome store.
Hell yeah.
Now we're going to head over to see how this deck interacts with the opponents, which I didn't see you do a ton of, to be honest. You were just kind of like grain and yeast, like no hops. But let's see how I can change that in the hop profile. So I'm going to start with this one.
Another $40 card.
No, this one's actually surprisingly cheap. And you actually got to see me play it, and you saw the impact it brought. And guess what? She's a wizard. Gisa, Glorious Resurrector. 2 colorless, black, legendary creature, human wizard. It's a 4/4. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. At the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Gisa, Glorious Resurrector onto the battlefield under your control. They gain Decayed. And if you guys aren't familiar, a creature with Decayed cannot block. And whenever it attacks, it gets sacrificed at the end of combat. And this card you can pick up for literally 64 cents.
Actually, I don't have to spend any money on it because I got one because I thought this card was going to be like $50. And
me too. I bought like 6 of them.
Yeah. I mean, it did work. No, that's slam dunk, no questions asked. It is kind of counterintuitive with my next pick, but I think just having these things, I think the craziest part that we saw was the best example that we played of this on your side was the Palladium Mirror, right?
Yeah.
Like, because then Decayed doesn't even matter, right? Like, you get these creatures that you just get to blow up, or they do bad blocks or something. And worst case scenario is you have something you can attack with. But best case, they have an activated ability or something that happens all the time. This is the one card that, like, you held the table hostage, and then you got it back, and then did it again.
And then I got it back again and did it again. Just never stopped. So yeah, that's exactly kind of what I'm thinking, because I don't know how the delay trigger works when the creature dies, because you get it at the beginning of your upkeep. So like if it's a board wipe, she would see them all die, so they would get exiled. But like, do you get them back, or is it because she's now...
Does she have to be on the battlefield when that happens?
Yeah, see, that's where I don't know. We'd have to kind of look up some rulings on the board wipe piece. Right. But even so, someone board wipes you, okay, well, you guys also lost your stuff, and now it's all exiled.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
That is impactful, because that would also hold the table hostage like I did. I bet you that's why neither Cop or Elder Drunken Highlander probably did a board wipe. They're like, well, all my stuff's going to get exiled.
Right, and then
doesn't really do me any good. Yeah. So I think Gisa in here, she's going to be primarily a hop, but she honestly could turn into a yeast card for you.
I think if we're playing people that are playing like graveyard toolbox stuff like we saw with Cop, they're going to be SOL with this card out, right? And again, I think I like especially this and Mangara, because these are also worst case scenario is they eat a removal spell because people have to get them out or else they can't play the game, right?
Yeah,
I'm 100% okay with that and let my commander out and run it around.
Absolutely. Well, Tuck, let's see if you could top the boogeyman from our last stream with your first hot pick.
I will not, but one thing I really noticed about my boy Burakos, or girl, hold on, let me see here. I really can't tell. Anyway,
it's they.
Yeah, there you go. So there was a time where I couldn't attack, right? And if I did, I either had to broker a deal or hope that I wouldn't get double blocked. And I think finding ways to make Burakos bigger is going to be really critical to the deck. And also, there's very little graveyard hate in here, so I thought I could kind of solve 2 birds with 1 stone. So that's why I think Lion Sash is a really interesting addition in here. So it's a colorless and a white for artifact, creature, equipment, cat. It has 1 white, exile target card from a graveyard. If it's a permanent card, put a 1/1 counter on Lion Slash. And then it also has reconfigure, so you can pay to attach it to a target creature, and then it doesn't. While it's attached, it's not a creature; it's an equipment, effectively. And then equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each 1/1 counter on Lion Sash. Right. So for me, this is like kind of a quick, repeatable way to build up my commander that also will have to eat an artifact removal or like a
creature
board wipe
removal.
and something else. Right. Exactly. So it's I only am putting this in. The reason why I put this in is because of how important the graveyards were to the people that we were playing with. And I was like, I don't really have any sort of graveyard interaction with here, so I might as well kind of get some value out of this one as well.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this because I don't like creature plus type. Because it just opens, you're just giving more options for removal.
Right, yeah.
So that's where I'm a little not hot on this. I do agree you need ways to interact with graveyards, so that way you could stop BS that happened.
But I guess
I don't.
To your point, is Gisa just a better option to this? It kind of is.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Well, because if you think about it, Gisa, they don't even get die triggers; they just straight exile.
Right.
So. I see what you're saying though about, you might as well get the incidental value for your commander. I'd be interested to hear you play this because here's kind of where my mind goes to. It's not any of your party. Like, do you want to have non-party members in the deck?
And I think you have brought up a good point of that, of being like, look at all these replacement effects that I found that also fill your party, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like a really salient point when you're thinking about how to build this, right? Like Gisa is a better graveyard hate and also is a party member. So I think I might stick with her to fill that gap, and I can tutor out with my full party thing and play her immediately. So there you go.
Okay, my next hop. We're gonna start making our opponents discard cards because that just puts everyone on tilt.
Love it.
But we're sticking to the party mechanic, and I hope to goodness that you have enough rogues in the deck. We're gonna put in Una's Blackguard.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Colorless black, creature fairy rogue. It's an uncommon. It's a 1/1. It has flying. Each other rogue creature you control ETBs with an additional +1 counter on it. Bare minimum, your commander gets a little bit bigger when he comes in.
Yeah.
They come in.
That's the bottom, right? That's as low as it
bottom.
goes.
Literally bottom. But here's what I like about it. And I think this is where there's a fun space, depending on how many rogues you have in the deck. I'd say if you have at least 10 to 15, I think it'd be okay. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. And it's whenever a creature, not whenever one or more creatures. So if you hit someone with 5, they're discarding their hand, probably.
Sure. Yeah, it's big. 6 rogues plus my commander so far, and then 4 shapeshifters. So that's 10. That's a
and then you would add this, though. That would be 11.
So, I mean, that's quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
I think that's probably good enough. And just the fact that this is another blocker, right? This is another thing that fills in. I think this is I would want to play this. It would just
You know what, Tuck? I already have the solve for you. We talked about it when we did my Ultra the Brood background.
Yeah.
Bitter Blossom would be a slam dunk in here.
Oh god, Bitter
Fairy
Blossom is
rogues.
so good. Yeah. Slam dunk. And to your point, I also still have Maskwood Nexus in here, right? So I think that card is probably the MVP. Honestly, I'll probably just go and tutor that up and play it immediately with the Coveted Prize. So the fact that I like that it has, even though most of the creatures in here are those 4 types, it still has ways to grant all of them. So yeah. Okay, I'm starting to get a little hotter. Starting to get a little hotter on Una's Blackguard for sure.
Sweet. All right. Well, what's your next hop card that I got to get hot for?
So I was really looking into party cards, and by and large, they're all kind of shit. The new ones that they've printed are very good, but the ones before aren't that hot. So Coveted Prize is number 1 with a bullet, but this one is even better than one of my pet cards and your least favorite removal, Hero's Downfall, because Deadly Alliance can also just cost 1. So Deadly Alliance is 4 colorless and a black for an instant. The spell costs 1 less to catch for each creature in your party. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. So for me, I think the upside, I'm working to get a full party, right? Like that is where this deck is going. So I might as well just use a removal spot for it. Even with my commander, paying 4 for this kind of sucks. But if I have 2, I'm paying 3, which is what murder costs on 2 colorless mana cheaper. So there will be edge cases where this card's going to suck to pay 5. I'm just going to time walk myself. But I think that the upside is there just for a pretty vanilla kind of removal effect.
I got nothing to say against it. And the only reason is because I've seen, I would say this, if I hadn't seen the deck, I'd probably be like, dude, are you ever going to actually have the full party? Like, how consistent? But you consistently had a full party, or at least 3 of the parties. So this is even better than murder, because most likely it's always going to cost you 2.
Someone clip that.
No!
I just did. I created a 30-second clip of it.
Crap. All right. But Tuck, I got something better than a potential 1-drop instant speed destroy target creature or planeswalker. How about a 7-drop creature that's a 5/5 that at instant speed you can pay black, black, black and tap to destroy target creature, but you get some value with it. Kalatis, Blood Chief of Get.
Oh, yes.
5 colorless, black, black, legendary creature, vampire warrior. It's a mythic. It's a 5/5. And you can pick one up for a little under $10.
Oh, okay.
Activated ability, black, 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 tap, destroy target creature. If that creature is put into a graveyard this way, put a black vampire creature token onto the battlefield. Its power is equal to that creature's power, and its toughness is equal to that creature's toughness. So here was my thought around this. You need ways to be able to threaten to blow up creatures consistently, not one-offs.
Right.
Is kind of like you talked about. Like, we're trying to toolbox our creatures and still stay to the party mechanic. So it's like I like Kalatis a little bit more than your pick, mainly because yours is a one and done. This, we might be able to pay murder mana every single rotation and be able to blow up stuff. The vampire creature token, it's not going to contribute to your party at all. But, I mean, you are, whatever you're blowing up, that's how big your vampire is. Yeah. So I blew up your 5/5. I now got a 5/5 token. That's nothing to, like, snuff at just because it's not the party mechanic. Yep. And if anything, those could just be used for sack fodder, for, like, Altar of Dementia. It could be used for Phyrexian or not Arena.
You were playing effects where it's like sacrifice a creature or blah blah blah, right? Like that's a pretty popular mechanic of just sacrificing things, and I think I like it a lot, and I think people would say the mana value is too restrictive to play, but that was the thing. As soon as I got my commander out, I was dumped. I would cast
treasures.
Oh my gosh! I would cast a creature and extort 7 times, right, on turn 5 or 6. So I think just even if you're only getting 2 treasures a turn, fine. But if this can cost 5 instead of 7 consistently, you're already paying for its value, and it plays into the party and it destroys stuff. So it's a cute one. I think this is probably one of the only decks that I would say this is really good in.
That's fair. And I mean, it's good. It would probably be good in a vampire deck if you have a vampire deck. Yeah. But, this is probably a card that you don't own. And I bet you could probably find like a cool foil that's like moderately or heavily played that has that cool Zendikar foiling on it.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe that's something you try to pick up at Magic 30 in Vegas.
Oh, coming at you, boys. Bring out your trade binders. And by then, knowing me, I already have a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm ready. After going through and reorganizing the cards I line around, I'm like, I could go again and trade off even more stuff. Oh, my gosh. So, there you go.
Well, Tuck, give us your final hop card.
All right. Well, we did it. I think this is the first time I've ever put this in. But if we are going with the stupid... it's not stupid. If we're going with the Fabled Hero background, I do want to get more triggers than once.
Okay.
Vulcan Orrery. There you go. Merry Christmas.
Yes!
4 colorless. What is it? 4 colorless, all permanents you control get flash. I always forget how to spell it.
It's definitely not all permanents. It's non-land permanents. I think it might even state from your hand have flash, because I want to say Leyline of Anticipation is just non-land permanents you own have flash.
I still cannot spell. We've talked about this card so many freaking times. I still have no way. I cannot spell it. So
I usually just try to type in ORREY and then it autocorrects it because it's ORRERY.
It's what is it? ORR.
Oh no, I was actually wrong. It is you may cast spells as though they had flash, so you can do anything.
So
ORRERY.
ERY. That's right. It's Ori. Wow, 3 Oris.
Ori.
So yeah, so it's $25. I already have I think I have a copy of this line around. If not, I can get another proxy from visproxyshop.com. So if I'm gonna play into that Fabled or the Folk Hero background, I might as well put this in here to get that instant draw trigger. But to your point, I think that there, with like Mengaras of the world and these other things, I think there's probably going to be more efficient ways to draw cards than just having to cast them on other people's turns.
And talking game politics, Vilduk and Ori has a reputation, and that is going to draw even more ire. So I feel like we just talked you out of playing the card.
I think so. I don't know. Like, this is still the argument where it goes into every deck, right? Like, is this the deck that I'm gonna put it in, or am I just gonna go trade this? Because I think it's been sitting in my binder for 6 months.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up the hot profile. And before we head over to the game winners, we do want to talk about abyssproxyshop.com. They are a great partner of ours. They have a great code for our community. If you guys use code CMD Tower, that'll get you 10% off your order. Plus, they do help out the channel a little bit. They're actually helping us with some giveaways for you guys. If you type custom into their search bar, you'll actually see their massive repository of art that they've done for community members that have requested it. You can even find my Game of Thrones pieces on there or my Mystical Archive ones. So if you have the Vilduk and Ori that you need to play test into multiple decks, instead of paying $25 a card, pay $3, $4 a card, and abyssproxyshop.com will take care of you.
Hell yeah.
Now we're going to head over to how this game is going to close out and win with Yeast. Tuck?
Okay.
What are you bringing to the table? I know I usually bring some heat, and I got some sweaty nonsense.
I got two. I have two that are probably more basic, and then I have one that I think is insanity, and I don't think you're gonna like it. But the first one is this: this is a card that I've already owned, and it's something where I was like, snap buy, right? This card is so good, it's got so much value in it, and I just could not, for the life of me, figure out what deck to put it in, right?
Okay.
It's been in and out of lists, it's been in and out of things, but I think the key here of why this card is amazing is because even though this is a 2-color deck, Burakos, our party person, is only 1 color. So in here, Commander's Plate is going to go completely berserk, right? Commander's Plate is a 1-drop artifact equipment that's a mythic for about $15. When it has equipped creature gets +3/+3 and gains protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. Equip commander for 3, equip normal for 5. So I've been trying to figure out, like, okay, do I put this in a 3-color deck? No, probably because it doesn't offer enough protection. Do I put this into a 4-color deck? Absolutely not. Like, but what 2-color decks do I have? So it's been something that I've been like thinking about a lot. And I love the fact that this is going to get everything except for black on it, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm playing this mostly on the edge of, because black has the best removal, except for maybe green. That's the best everything, as we're all well aware of. But just the fact that this is going to be one card that's going to allow me to attack anyone I want to at the table, right? There's going to be someone that's open that will not be able to block my guy. 9 times out of 10, I feel. Outside of bizarro, crazy edge cases.
And then, heck, you could always put the sword in there. The Sword of Sinew and Steel gives him pro-black.
There you go.
He's just protection from everything.
So that's a big thing.
This is snap slam dunk.
This is the biggest thing that I realize is, like, I need to have ways to make them unblockable or something, right? As opposed to just praying. Because there's several times where I attacked where it's like they could jump block me and I'm just dead in the water, right? I can't do anything about it. Or double block me. So I happen to have one of these. That's why I was excited to throw it in.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the perfect decks for these are colorless decks because it's just protection from everything.
Nothing. Suck on that.
Yeah, no, this is a good card. What's this card up to now? $15. I don't know if it's worth $15, to be honest, but because here's how I'd look at it, especially since we're open to using the Abyss Proxy Shop playtest cards. It would have to be like, okay, it's a have to, the deck doesn't work unless this is in here, or I have like 4 or 5 other decks that I could probably playtest a version into.
Right.
That's kind of how I look at this at $15. It's just not that powerful for that monetary value for me.
And you just think, like, people said, I originally had this in my blue-black horror deck, right? But it gives you protection. It doesn't give you protection from blue or black, which are great at removing creatures. And that's like, so in that case, Swiftfoot Boots would have been better than this because the pump is important. But here, turning them into a 5/7 that also has blockage from 4 colors seems like it's the right deck for it.
Yeah, fair. Okay, first Yeast card for me. We talked about how much life you gained, and you did it multiple times.
Yeah.
Like it was like you're at 70, and then we got you back down to like 40, and then you were at 80, and then we got you to like 50. I think Viscopa Guildmage could win you the game on the spot.
Okay.
Costs just Orzhov to cast, white, black, 2/2, human wizard contributing to the party, and it's like 30 cents.
Yeah, right.
So the irrelevant ability for me is a colorless Orzhov. Target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. Like, it's fine, but it's, we talked about it. Your deck is gaining life in a lot of other ways.
Right.
But a colorless Orzhov, whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life, seems really good. And it doesn't say whenever you gain life the next time this turn.
Right.
So it's static for the entire turn. So even if you're gaining it in, like, your extort triggers one at a time.
Over and over and over again. Sure.
Totally okay. It'll continue to work. I think if you would have had this card on the field, Tuck, you probably would have won the game. The game would have ended probably 5 to 10 turns earlier, is what it feels like. So I feel like right around turn 6 is when you just blew up. And if you had this out, okay, 3 mana, I do exactly what I was going to do, I win.
Yeah, I agreed on that. And I think that I like that. I'm wary. The only wariness I have is I just happen to have I drew Pontiff of Light, right? So I don't know how much lifelink I have in here, but
we're gonna get some more.
We're gonna get some more. That's the new hotness. Yeah, but I think it's, like I said, it's a pretty low entry point. And the 3 giving Burakos lifelink just to get my life back up, and then being able to trigger the other things I have going on here for 3 mana. I'm gonna get my 3 treasures back from that, so it's pretty much free every turn. And again, the wizard part is kind of hard to get in, and it's 32 cents. I guarantee I owe a copy of this. I'm interested. I think it's something I would definitely consider putting in.
Yeah, worst case scenario, because you do have one laying in a bulk box somewhere if you didn't trade it in. And so it's like, even if you had to spend 50 cents on it, hey, you could order it when you're ordering my dollar deck.
There you go.
It would help get your total up. The floor for this is your commander. The ceiling is it helps you win the game.
Wins the game out,
if it's unplayable in the deck, you have another deck that this probably wants to be in.
Definitely.
All right. What's your next East card? So we got Commander's Plate. We're trying to make our commander unblockable to get damage in.
So 6 damage is a fair amount of chunk each turn straight out the gates, right? And I have to do that every turn if I want to maximize, right? I have to, or at least I'm doing 4 damage every turn, no matter what, to at least one opponent, right?
Sure.
But with these skills that we're talking about, it's going to be ways to spread that all around a little bit more. So I think that if we're going to burn them out, we're going to burn them out quick. Wound Reflection. Let's go. 5 colors and a black for an enchantment. At the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. 12 damage is backbreaking turn over turn, right? And that's not even including you attacking them for 15 in the air, right? That's not including some other dragon coming down and blasting someone for 5. The fact that this is every end step is going to make this game go so much faster. And I think that, again, 5-6 mana, I could cast this the turn after I play Burakos in like in a not bizarre world, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's really cute. And I think that's something too that the reason why I feel like I lost that game, outside of me just, I probably should have attacked a little more with my other creatures, so on and so forth, was it went on too long, right? This is kind of a game that I wouldn't say is blitzkrieg. I don't need to win on turn 5, but as we start getting into the later game, the amount of damage, the amount of values that I'm creating isn't going to be fast enough to keep up with other people who are playing those turn 6, turn 7, turn 8 explosive decks out. So getting Wound Reflection out early is going to really help paint the battlefield red with blood so I can squeak out a win before people start getting ahead of themselves.
Yeah, no, I like this. I think it's a great pick. I'm almost starting to get concerned that maybe we're creeping your CMC up too much.
Too much, yeah.
Because I've noticed we've started talking a lot about 5+ CMC cards.
Yeah.
Granted, I don't know what you'd be cutting from the deck. So, I think this is a great card. I think you've done a lot of great points because I do believe with decks that are strictly red zone, not like a go wide
Yep.
or I'm trying to do Voltron. Just strictly, I'm a red zone deck, just trying to attack each turn. I feel like you have to win in 9 or less or 8 or less turns.
Yeah, right.
Because eventually, like you said, your value isn't as impactful as someone casting Expropriate or Time Warp.
And I can't do anything about that, right? Like this deck dies on the spot to any sort of those Spellslinger decks, and I want them to have to use their resources more non-profitably just to get themselves out of a hole, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's that, but it's also your Planeswalker decks. You know, Planeswalkers are rampant. Like, a Planeswalker deck, if it's like turn 10, you're probably screwed. Because they got 5 or 6 of them out. Maybe an Ultimate's already gone off. You just can't recover from it. So, yeah, I think this is smart because it should hopefully accelerate.
Right.
Okay. Here is a real sweaty pick. Because I'm telling you, man, just the amount of life you gain is just like seared
we're only
into
doing life gain.
I've always thought this card is cute, but I didn't know where it could live. I think it lives here.
This better not be Veto of the Dusk Rose, or whatever the hell that card is.
And it's also a cleric.
Oh my god, it is him.
Angel of Destiny.
Huh?
3 colorless white. It's a mythic. It's a 2/6 creature angel cleric.
Oh.
You can get it for $4. Flying double strike. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each gain that much life. At the beginning of your end step, if you have at least 15 life or more than your starting life total, each player Angel of Destiny attacked this turn loses the game. I think this is going to be a lot easier than you think.
Right. Is this I've seen this was kind of on some lists I was looking, and I didn't. This is before I played the deck, and I kind of forgot about it. Is this the best card in the deck?
Oh yeah,
it has to be, right? It's insane.
Yeah, the way I really see it is because it's whenever a creature. So even if you swung in for like 8 of them,
right,
your commander's still going to make them lose life. So like if he's actually hitting them for 2, they're still losing a net 2 life that turn. But you still went up.
Oh, and then yeah, because it's taking 4, right? Yeah.
So it's actually it's going to work out more positively for you, and I think almost every situation. The only time your opponents are going to actually gain life is when you're doing the whole attack with everything. But I think when you're doing that, it's like you're dead this turn.
Right.
Swing with everything. You can't do anything about my Angel of Destiny. And then, okay, yeah, you're at 80. I'm at 85. In step, you lose.
Yeah, I love it. I think this is awesome. This is again another card where I got spoiled. I was like, this card's really interesting, but how the hell do you play it, right?
Yep.
It is sweaty, but in the right way, right? Like in the way that this is either gonna be a blowout or I'm gonna play this and die the next turn because people will be like, it's over, right? Like we can't come back from this when I have 60 life to start with.
Yeah,
I love it.
All right, Tuck. You got 1 yeast card left. Commander's Plate was cool. Wound Reflection. Okay, I want something to get me excited. Make the hairs stand up.
This is going to be a wild one, okay? Because the variance on this is going to be through the roof. All over the place. I don't think when we played that game that anyone had a single piece of interaction. Or there's very limited, right? A few creature removals. Maybe you had Reclamation Sage, that sort of thing, right? So I think there's going to be other targets. And I think this card is going to keep me alive in a weird way. So, fresh from Commander's Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, we're talking Pact Weapon. 3 colorless and a black for an artifact equipment. As long as it's attached to a creature, you don't lose the game for having 0 life or less. For starters, whenever an equipped creature attacks, draw a card and reveal it. The creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, and you lose X life, where X is that card's mana value. Equip, discard a card. Variance is through the roof, right? You could hit a land, and you're just screwed, right? You're just toast. I don't have top. I don't have anything like that. But even turning my Burakos into a 5/7, that is such a big swing in terms of how you block and how you deal with it, right? And I was getting, there was people to attack every turn. So, and the best part, in my opinion, is you get to draw a card no matter what. So, this is 1 mana more than Phyrexian Arena. You get to equip it by discarding a card. Cool, land, adios, no problems there. I have a bunch of treasures. I don't need to hear about that. And then the upside of potentially hitting that angel, right? It's draw, not reveal. Or wait, no, it is draw and reveal. Sorry. But still, hitting an angel or something like that and getting +5 on an unblockable commander, that's going to be such a blowout.
So here's actually where I like the card more. Traditionally, these cards, it's the creature gets +X +0.
Correct. Exactly.
I love the fact that it buffs the toughness as well.
One-note card. This is really good in that you should pick it up for.
Grevin?
Yeah. This is an insane card in Grevin.
Yeah, I can just die that much quicker. It's great. I'll just snap lose on the spot. Oh my god, that'd be terrible. What if I had no other creatures? I'm at like 5 life. I could kill them if I swing, but if I swing, but no, 0 less life. I'd be okay. It's
yeah, exactly.
It's,
right.
It's fine. Whew. Yeah, no, great card.
It's fun, right? Like it draws you a little bit. I don't know.
Okay.
Last one.
This is sweaty. So sweaty because the mana investment is so high, but you have an excessive amount of treasures. And I think you would rather to spend 8 of them to do this effect than to pay 8 to extort 8 times. Dawn Glare Invoker. 2 colorless white, creature core wizard. It's a 2/1 and it has flying. You could pay 8 colorless at any point. Tap all creatures target player controls. I genuinely believe, like, if you had been at a point where you could just free swing with everything, you would have won the game.
I probably would have been able to win, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that would have been, even though the extort triggers got you way up, this kind of gives you an alternative. It's like, am I trying to do the extort thing, or am I just trying to win off of combat damage? It's also CMC less than 4, so you could do your whole tutor thing, and that comes out.
Late game, sure.
Oh gosh, Tuck, you do that for 9 mana. 1 mana to do the tutor because of your party, and then you pay the 8 to tap them all and you win.
Wow. That's interesting.
And you could get the card for literally 6 cents.
I think I've like torn up an 8 in these cards before because they come in like they came in a bunch of precons. It's I guess like the to your points, if I didn't have that Pontiff of Blight, I would have been sitting around with a lot of mana and not using it, right?
Yep.
So I do like that. It's something out there. It's just 8 is so much, right? Like that's.
But the thing is, though, it's tap. Because here's the thing, Tuck. You're not going to do 8 to tap down 2 creatures. Yeah. You're doing it to tap down 6 or 7 so you can get in with your army.
Or if I'm like, I need to rebuild and I'm okay taking a turn or 2 to do it. Someone's about to go to attackers. I'm like, okay, where are you going to go?
Tap them down.
Yeah, okay. Like if you come at me, I'm just going to tap them down. It's a waste, right? So like, what are we going to do there? I think, and the fact it's a wizard makes it a little bit more exciting as well.
There we go.
We can't find those, so I'm not as hot. Angel, so far of these 3, Angel of Destiny is a slam dunk without any questions. No further questions on that one. I think the other one, too, are a little more situational. But like you said, it's easy to just be like, I'm going to throw this in and goldfish it for a little bit and see if I draw these cards. Then maybe that'll be the blowout that I'm looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up the yeast package. And just a reminder, before we head over to our final segment, you can see this deck list on our website at cmdtower.com/BNBE143. So if you guys would like to see this, also it'll have links to all of the YouTube videos, the audio content, all of that good stuff. So just cmdtower.com/BNBE143. All right, Tuck, we're heading over to the spice package. Okay. And, oh, baby, I got spice, and I got you 2. I picked out 2 for you.
2, okay.
Because one is incredibly spicy, and I'd say the other one is spicy, but it's a little bit more boring. So then I wanted to make sure I stayed on the hot train.
So Wizards almost did it. They almost made a mechanic to me that is more fun than Monarch.
Oh, with your connive?
Initiative. Initiative is the new hotness, right? So I don't want to slam every single initiative card into this deck, but there is one that is fresh off the pack that is fitting for it. So, and that is Raven Loft Adventurer. 3 colorless and a black for a creature, human, rogue, assassin. When it enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. And for those who don't know, the initiative is like venture into a dungeon, but you venture into the specific undercity. If you take the initiative multiple times, you keep venturing through it. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you venture again. If a creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it and put a hit counter on it, right? And it's a rogue, so we're already there, kind of a Gisa sort of sub part. But more importantly, when it attacks, if you've completed a dungeon, defending player loses 1 life for each card they own and exile with a hit counter on it.
Oh.
It's sweaty, right?
It's very sweaty.
But it has a relevant creature type. It deals with the graveyard, arguably better than Lion's Sash is, right? So you won me on that one. You won me over on that argument. And it does have a payoff for the initiative, because if it's let me tell you, if the pre-releases that I did are any indication, initiative is a harder thing to get than the Monarch, because it just keeps getting better and better and better. You can attack someone, get it on your turn, they take it back. It's absolutely incredible. So it's a spice for sure, but it does fit into one of these sub-themes of the deck that I want in it.
It's very sweaty. I think the only reason I'm okay with it is that it's a rogue, and it does do a stacks effect on the exiling the death triggers. So once again, we're kind of helping with the fact that that's kind of why we lost. We just could, I couldn't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Yeah, it's cute. It's very cute. 18 cents isn't a big financial investment, so yeah, I can see that.
I do have one more as well, real quick, because we still want to get the Monarch into the game, and we don't need to do it through a court, but we could do it through my Lich Boy. Custodian Lich, 3 colorless, double black for a 4/2 zombie cleric. That when it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. When you become the Monarch, target player sacrifices a creature. It's a better Court of Ambition in this deck, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Just get the Monarch going. Easily worth a slot for me.
You and this Monarch, man.
It's so great.
It's just you're obsessed.
I
mean, for 5 mana, absolutely not. This is not even worth.
This doesn't do it for
I'm not
you?
even going to go any more into it. So, and you guys might have been confused because Tuck cut me off twice when I was trying to start. So now I guess I'll do both of mine in a row. So the first one I wanted to talk about, it's because I saw how many treasure tokens you were making, and you did make some creature tokens as well.
Yeah.
This is going to get you some flying blockers, which seem to also hurt you when you didn't have flyers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I do think it's worth considering Thalassy Reverent Medium for the deck. 3 colorless Orzhov, legendary creature, human cleric. It's a 3/4. At the beginning of each end step, create X/1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of tokens you created this turn. It doesn't say creature tokens, it just says tokens. And you can get the card for 14 cents. And you probably actually have it from Commander Legends boxes you busted open. So for me, it's sweaty because from my memory, you're only making tokens on your turn.
Correct.
So you're not getting the multitude of value, similar to my argument against your background that you have on the cast draw.
Right.
But the reason I think it's worth considering is because you are making minimum 4 treasures on every single one of your turns.
Right, exactly. That's
4 1/1 flyers that you can now use for blocking. That doesn't seem like something you can, kind of roll your eyes at. For 5, if you had an enchantment that said for 5 mana at the beginning of your upkeep, create 4 1/1 white spirit creature tokens, and you just did that every single turn.
Yeah, it'd be incredible.
You'd absolutely play that.
Yeah, slam dunk. That'd be like a mythic rare, right? It's like Bitter Blossom, but better. Yes. So that's my only holdback on it. I think if this wasn't a cleric, I wouldn't be into it. And I think for 5, it's quite a bit, but it'd only be 4 with a Ketra's Monument. So, and again, getting this down the turn, if I can play this somehow, then attack, then create the tokens that same turn, then we're off to the races, right? Like,
oh gosh,
this is like the perfect card to play the second turn after I create all the treasures. Untap, play her, attack, create the more treasures, and then now we're back, right? So a little sweaty. I'd say it's more on the slimy scale for me because it does have the relevant types. So I'm interested, and I'm pretty sure I have a copy of that too. Let me take a look here. But what's your? So I'm sure you got
one more.
One insane one to finish it off with. Boring.
Very boring. Seagate Colossus, 7 colorless artifact creature, Golem Warrior. It's a 7/5. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. And you can get it for 2 pennies.
Oh, geez.
So this, it gets you a big boy for only 3 mana. So initially when I put this in here, I was like, oh, but if you had 5 warriors, that should probably work, right? It could be free. But that's not the case. So I think a 7/5 with a relevant creature type for 3 mana, that's probably worth considering, depending on if you play the deck more. I look at this card, Tuck, to where you're like, man, I need more big thick boys to like go hit
all I
for
have
damage.
All I have are 1/1s, right? Flying.
Yeah, or 2/2s or 3/3s, and I'm just not being able to really threaten. Like the only way I'm impacting the game is through my commander's life drain effect or these other rigmaroles. This at least gets you a big guy that you can throw some equipment on and get some damage.
And look at what we have here.
Hey, there she is.
Going in the pile.
So Seagate Colossus. Is this way too like? Do you just think it's too plain to play?
My only concern is that I have a hard time. It may be too vanilla. I think to your point, there's so many other creatures that have relevant abilities. Like I think the perfect example is like Dark Confident, right? So even if I can only cast this for 3, which is going to happen, I still feel casting Dark Confident on 2 is going to be a better play in the long term. But I think it really depends, because when we played that game, no one was attacking except for me and like kind of you every once in a while, right?
Yeah.
So like if I play it again and I'm like, I can't beat a Hydra deck because I just can't. I have nothing to do because everything I have is a 2/3 or 2/1, right? Like I can't Machias enough to get the value out there. Then some card like this would be an easy include, just to be like, I'm gumming up the board. I don't even want to attack with it. If I have to, I will, I guess. But I think that there's better options out there, but that doesn't mean that this one's out.
That's fair. That's totally fair. And I think it was just the mindset of like, I think you might need some bodies that actually can some like real threaten bodies. Damage. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, guys, thanks for making it until the end of the episode. And if you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our Twitch channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're getting the podcast updates, and we'd love a 5-star review. If you guys liked this new kind of Twitch live stream for Brews and Builds recording, this is something that we want to start doing every single week. We do usually have a schedule that we will post and kind of let you guys know when we are going to do it. It can be fluid from week to week, so it won't be one of those, always, every other Monday like our actual Twitch streams. But we are going to also start doing this with our specialty episodes, MTG Action 4 News, Mr. Bever's Neighborhood, and the rest. So let us know if you enjoyed it. Now, if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can reach me at Mr. Comment number 5 on Twitter, all spelled out except for the 5. Tuck, where can people get a hold of you?
You can find me at BigTuck tweeting on the Twitterverse.
Sweet. You can reach our main account at CMD Tower on Twitter as well. And just another quick reminder, guys, if you're looking to support us, you can do it through a myriad of different ways, through our Patreon, patreon.com/CMD Tower, our Etsy shop, etsy.com/store/CMD Tower, or abyssproxyshop.com using code CMD Tower for 10% off. And if you want the deck list, cmdtower.com/BNBE143. So Big Tuck, we theory crafted Burakos the party leader, and going into this, you really, we kind of went back and forth on how we were going to do this. We've never done this with the precon before. And so it was kind of like, hey, take all the stuff out for a fact you do not want. And then only put in the cards that you slam dunk you do not want me to come to the table with.
Right.
Do you feel like we accomplished what you wanted?
Definitely.
And if we did, what's your favorite card from the Yeast package that you hope you actually get to pull off?
Oh, that's easy. It's Angel of Destiny. No questions asked. All right. Yeah, I think this was challenging, trying to remove the cards that I don't want, because I like this. I think this was a really good exercise for Theorycraft, right? I think we pretty much don't want to talk about precons, right? Because I think out of the box are kind of boring. And I like this idea of just going through and being like, this deck doesn't have a Swords to Plowshares. Why is that? This deck doesn't have an Exotic Orchard. Why is that? This deck doesn't have a Wayfarer's Bauble. Why is that? Right? Like, just going through and just doing some like the term we use in IT is quality of life upgrades, right?
Sure.
I'm just like, there's some shitty removal spells in here. Those are gone, right? Like the mana base needs better fixing, but we don't need to go through that. So yeah, I think I wish in hindsight though I would have cut even more out, just to have a little bit more of a better idea. But again, it's so after only playing it once, and this also was difficult because it played so good out of the box. I was like, am I even cutting the right cards, or is this going to make it not as good? But I think especially with the cards like you mentioned, especially like the Dark Confidants of the world, Angel of Destinies, these are cards that play into the theme. They're going to make it even more fun to play. I think the three that are the biggest slam dunk from your ends was Dark Confidant, Gisa Glorious Returner, and then Angel of Destiny, right? Three valuable cards that are gonna accelerate this game into a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I think the cards that you brought to the table, Tuck, they make a lot of sense. Like, I love the Deadly Alliance ad. The packed weapon's super cute, and I really like it. I think your temple is under attack is very good as well. One thing I'm genuinely shocked you did not have in your list, and I'm just double checking so I don't get yelled at. Why don't you have Coveted Jewel in here?
I thought about it.
That seems like a slam dunk.
It's so easy to get out, and I'm going to be attacking. I'm kind of surprised they didn't put it in, but I don't think this deck is it. I want to play this deck like a politics deck, right? Because that's how I like to play all my decks, and I don't think this deck was built like that, right? I think it was much more built with just the idea of like, I don't know. We have to lean so hard into party mechanics, and it's such a bizarro. Like, all the reprints that they put in this deck are effectively all party mechanic decks or cards. So maybe they just ran out of space, but I think Coveted Jewel will be sweet. I'd love to get that card back in rotation. I don't know. I think this deck is different. I really enjoyed playing it, and I think it's a deck that I think is going to be one of the things where it's like, I just want to play a deck that's a little bit more straightforward. I want to play a deck that's like, I played Prosper at Magic Fest, and every turn was like having a heart attack because there's so many different triggers and all this other shit. It's like, just give me a deck where I can just punch face and make some treasures.
Sure.
Build, so
yeah, I think we definitely accomplished that. Well, Twitch, YouTube, and our podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great day. See ya.
Thanks for coming in. And see you guys later. Bye.